start the new year, some of you might want like a fresh start. Welcome to the world of minimalism. I'm sure you've clicked on a couple of different videos about this topic if you're sitting here on YouTube watching my video, and they're promising that this lifestyle will change your life. And it very well could. It did for me. But you don't have to throw out your entire wardrobe or your all of your furniture in order to have a lifestyle shift. First off, I suggest starting slow, one drawer. Same rules as organizing, start small. If you like it, do something a little bigger, then something a little bigger. Maybe with a little declutter, or try a no buy challenge, even if it's just for a day. I did an entire no buy, which turned kind of into a low buy year in 2024. If you don't know anything about that, go check that out. But start small just to get your feet wet. But if you are looking for a couple more suggestions, here are 8 things that I'm doing in my life right now that have helped incorporate minimalism into every aspect of my life. First, get over buying things secondhand. There's such a stigma about buying things used. Cars, clothes, home goods, baby things. Get over it. Just get over it. It doesn't make any sense. Just because you have the money to buy it from a huge online retailer does not mean that you should. And if you're worried about brand names, are you kidding? The secondhand market for brand name items is even bigger than the non-name brand items. Actually, I don't know if that's true, but for Patagonia, we have worn wear, which is where all of my Patagonia comes from. Casual stuff as well as actual hiking gear. Thrift books for any books that I ever buy, literally just like Amazon. They are not sponsored, but they totally could be if they wanted to reach out to a girl, give me some credit. Not only do these places sell secondhand things, but you can usually also sell them your secondhand things, make some money. You can do ThredUp, which has changed a lot in the last year. So shop accordingly, but also go ahead and try your actual local Goodwill. I'm talking Marketplace, I'm talking Uptown Cheapskate, Plato's Closet for my early aught girlies. I still go there. I still find clothes there. I am finding it harder and harder to find things that match my style, but that's another story. And to be clear, I buy almost everything for my house on Marketplace. I buy most of my stuff for my kid from Once Upon a Child or from Marketplace. Also, a lot of the furniture in my house is from family members, their heirloom pieces, like the couch I'm sitting on, this lamp, a lot of my art, my china cabinet, all of my bed frames, rocking chair, nightstands are secondhand, more lamps, so many things. My dining room table, it's all secondhand. Get over buying things secondhand. It will help you be more minimal. But for real, thrifting is even cool right now. So if the Gen Zs haven't shown us that already, you're behind the times. Be cool, also save money and the planet, and stop filling your house with junk. Are we already seeing how these things are all connected? Yes? Okay, great. Second thing to be more minimal, borrow as much as you can. So for special occasion wear, baby items, one-off craft or art or household projects, all things that require special equipment essentially don't need to live in your house, especially if you know somebody who has recently done that project, gone through that life change, etc. Especially if it won't be used for very long. There's no reason for you need to own it. And then in terms of house stuff, we recently just borrowed a post hole digger from a friend of Dan's at work in order to build our swing project. If you haven't seen my swing project, it was a lot of fun and it looks beautiful. But I didn't need to go out and buy a post hole digger. Even though they're $20 at Home Depot, I could borrow one from a friend, create a greater sense of community, and then not have a piece of equipment that is going to live in my house and probably not ever be used ever again. I've also talked about this in another recent video, but when I was 9 months pregnant, I went to a black tie wedding and I was not about to buy formal attire for when I was 9 months pregnant, because the likelihood was I was never going to be 9 months pregnant going to a formal wedding ever again. I loved being able to ask a friend of mine for a gown and to be able to wear it and look beautiful. It really just saves money and saves on space in your house. So borrow things. The greatest thing is that it helps build a sense of community, especially something that I feel like I've been lacking a lot in my life. And since I've started to borrow things or ask people for their expertise on things or ask them to teach me skills, I've been able to get a lot closer to the people that I would like in my community, especially in the era of post-COVID. And I try to reciprocate. Even as a minimalist, I do still have things that people need or would like to use or want to have for a little while. I love being able to let people borrow things, or usually I just end up giving it to them. Which leads me kind of to my next point, which is ask people for help in order to build a sense of community. So basically in the book, The Story of Stuff, which you can actually watch most of it on YouTube, which I think is kind of funny. I will link the very specific video that I'm talking about below. But basically, consumerism has killed community because we used to, as a culture, have to ask people for help. We had to ask people to watch our children. We had to ask people for flour or for herbs or for their skill in helping us build our home. Because consumerism has monetized all of these things. Daycare, construction, the grocery stores on every corner. We no longer have to ask people for help. It has been stigmatized to ask people for help because then apparently you can't afford to use these services that are being provided or being offered in the world. That's some bullshit. So now we have to work endlessly to pay for these services that we used to be able to rely on our community to help us provide. Not only could we provide it for other people, but they would provide for us. This lack of community is what's making your life expensive. I'm not recommending you go and join a commune. I still live in a neighborhood. I still pay for daycare. I am still a member of the active consumerist culture, unfortunately, because I have to. But when I have the opportunity to choose to do something else, like ask a friend for help or offer a friend help, I jump at the opportunity to do it. Sorry, I had to move, my battery died. That got really soapboxy, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like guilt you into joining this crazy commune that is minimalism. But like, you just need to understand that like, life didn't used to be this expensive. Life didn't usually require all of this stuff that we have in our homes because it wasn't possible. We weren't able, people are not supposed to be able to afford all of these things on their own. But alas, consumerism as a whole has made it more lucrative for big companies to make us buy all of this crap and fill our lives with stuff because we need to be isolated in our homes instead of hanging out with other people. Drives me crazy. Anyway, next thing that you can do to make your life a little more minimal, and one of the things that I do in order to make my life a little more streamlined and simple, is I have a no spend day. If you've been following along on my channel for a while, you know we're trying to pay off a mountain of debt. And so I've had to stop buying stuff. Oh no. I don't want to buy things, let's be honest. One of the early ways that I started to implement like saving money and being a conscious spender was a little bit of advice from the Budgetnista. If you don't follow her, she is fantastic. Really down to earth and like realistic money goals with absolutely incredible results at the end. And one of those things that she recommends early on in a lot of her books is a no spend day. This is a day where you don't spend money. Now, if your gas bill is due or your power bill is due, pay those bills. But it's a day that you pack your lunch. It's a day that you don't go out for drinks after work. It's a day that you're not going to the movies. It's one day a week where you try not to spend any money. I know what days my bills come out. My husband and I have set in our family calendar a day that's not one of the days that the bills comes out. That's the day we don't spend any money. We don't go to the store. We try not to leave the house, to be honest, until we've gotten this habit really set in stone, and we've been trying it for a couple of years, so with varying degrees of success. But we try not to spend any money that day. It's harder than you think, especially now that we are tracking what we spend every single day. Don't worry, there's a spreadsheet. I don't have to do a lot of work on this. But now that we're seeing how much money we are spending literally every single day, it's kind of crazy and kind of a radical act of revolt against consumerism to have an entire day where you do not engage in an economy. It also helps me like realize like what on a daily basis am I bringing into my house? Every single day I need to be bringing something new into my house. That's not very minimal. That does not lead to a minimalist lifestyle. Even if that's like food, well, that brings in wrappers, that brings in packaging. It's just a nice little litmus test to see what's going on in your bank account. I loved my low buy year challenge. There's a lot of content, like I said, on here about the different parts of that. And there are also a lot of videos on YouTube about different guidelines and different rules and different things that you can do it. If you are interested in trying a low buy challenge, start with a day, start with a week, start with a month, start with 3 months, start with like those small things. I don't necessarily recommend starting with an entire year like I did. They're not meant to be restrictive. They're meant to be enlightening. They're supposed to make you aware of the different ways that you're spending money. Okay, the next thing you can do to be more minimal is recycle. So getting familiar with your trash helps you figure out a way to stop throwing so much away, because away, as we know, does not exist. And it helps you start recycling. So it may not seem very minimal to collect all of the plastic or all of the aluminum or all of the cardboard that you bring into your house. But here's the idea. Same thing with your money audit, is that it helps you become aware of all of the stuff that comes into your house. What was in the packaging that needs to be recycled? What was in the cans? Is there a way you can eliminate purchasing those things? You can also do this with your trash. So that's upcoming. But you can also do a trash audit where essentially you write down everything that you throw in your trash can for however long it takes you to fill up a trash bag. It sounds gross, but it also might help you figure out what then can be recycled of the stuff you put in your trash if you don't recycle already, or if there's an opportunity for you to cut even more out of your trash by maybe starting to compost. If you've never recycled before, here's just like a little baby tip. Start with something that's really easy for you to collect and for you to send to the proper recycling facility. Most grocery stores have places where you can recycle the plastic bags that they give you at that grocery store. It's like right outside the door. So that's really like something that you could start with that easily allows you to collect it and easily get it into the right hands. They usually have other containers outside, like for egg cartons, sometimes for cardboard. Most, if you live in like an apartment building, a lot of apartment complexes now have a recycling service as well, at least for cardboard. So break down your cardboard. This will also help you figure out how many boxes you are ordering online, and make sure you're using your apartment's recycling facilities. Because the more people that use these things, the more they will be supported and funded and continue to be accessible to you. So for instance, we now have a glass recycling right down the street at the liquor store, and it's huge. I don't have to sort the different colors of glass. It's fantastic. I'm familiar with the company and I know how they reuse the glass, and I'm so excited that it's really close by, and it makes us recycle more of our glass. Don't worry, I've got a whole video on recycling coming, but like in order to start being minimal, something to think about. Next thing you can do to be more minimal is to have a small or a capsule wardrobe. I am not telling you to throw out all your clothes. Let me just be clear. I have a pretty decent size wardrobe. I do not have a capsule wardrobe. I tried to follow the Project 333, and I did it for a little while, and I tried all the Pinterest hacks that you can see for capsule wardrobes, and I tried to get all of the exact pieces they recommended. It just didn't work for me. I only own things that I actually wear. Seems obvious, right? But things that are like just really pretty that I see at the store, or something that I feel like I should have because I'm a business professional or because I'm a mom, I don't own those things. Now, if I try something that I don't like, I make sure I get it to a new home of somebody who will actually use it. But I do truly only keep the clothes that I wear. So most of them are comfortable, but I do have a couple of dresses that I wear on a regular basis, especially in the summer, and they are things that continue to be used. My wardrobe has been in constant flux because of my pregnancy. My body is changing all the time, so I'm not trying to stick to crazy rules, but that also means I'm not buying clothes all of the freaking time. I'm purchasing and investing in things that can fluctuate with my body as it continues to change after having a baby. I mean, I think most people would say that I have like a capsule wardrobe based on just the sheer number of clothes that I have, but I don't put any pressure on myself to keep it that way. I did have like a spreadsheet once upon a time where I basically cataloged everything in my closet, and I realized, oh my God, I have so many tops, I have so many sweaters, I have 3 pairs of pants. So that was really helpful to kind of help me even out so that I could have maybe less fun purchasing tops and maybe spend a little more time investing in some bottoms for myself. Skirts, tights, leggings, whatever. That might be an activity that would be fun for you if you feel like you are struggling with your closet and you've got too much stuff. So also in all of 2024, I only bought secondhand clothes. It is just so easy in this day and age to do it. There's so many online resources. There are so many secondhand stores. I still only bought what I really needed and saved a bunch of money. Hi. There's Otis. It just saved me a ton of money based on the average consumer. Apparently Americans buy like, what is it, like an average of 52 new pieces a year? On average? Not to mention all those crazy people who are doing Temu and Shein hauls. I don't even want to talk about them. They don't even deserve to be talked about. Just enjoy this cattail. Doing a closet clean out or a capsule wardrobe challenge is a great thing to do at the top of the year. It's always a great way to figure out like what you actually wear and what you actually like to wear. A simple one that I recommend for anybody who's new in figuring out their wardrobe situation is turning all your hangers around. So at the top of the year, and you can start it now, it's not too late, is to turn all your hangers the opposite way. When you wear an item and you take it off the hanger, turn the hanger back around the normal way and put your item of clothing back on it. That way, anything that's on a hanger that's still the wrong way at the end of the year or at the end of the month or whatever, you know you didn't wear, and it might be a good candidate for being rehomed. Western culture spends so much money on clothes. So much money. It is also a resource heavy industry with all the different types of materials and manufacturing processes. So the less we buy, the better. Less we buy new is even better. Next thing to be more minimal. Use the library. You're already paying for it. Your taxes are paying for your library. You already own all the books at the library, all the DVDs, all of the streaming services. Yes, your library has streaming services. I used to ask my mom to take me to Barnes & Noble for every birthday. And she would buy me basically all the books I could carry. And I also asked her to take me to Anthropologie every year. What a child I used to be. I could get one piece of clothing from Anthro and books from Barnes & Noble. I am not in that tax bracket anymore. My husband also used to take me to Barnes & Noble for my birthday and buy me as many books as I wanted. Within reason, obviously, of course. And it was guilt-free because it was books. It was good. She was learning. She was happy. She was quiet. My parents always encouraged my reading, which I am very grateful for. And so it became a hobby that I devoured. And I've just never been satiated. I love to read. As an adult, paying for my own books got way more expensive. But I didn't want to give up reading, and nor would I ever recommend anyone do so. I can guarantee you, though, that the latest Hello Sunshine bestseller isn't worth the $40 you're going to pay to get it from Barnes & Noble or Amazon, especially if you're only going to read it once. Do you have to be the first person to read it? Can you put it on hold at your library and wait? Yes, I know sometimes the wait lists on those are lengthy, but you don't have anything else you should be doing? Do you read just what comes up on your Instagram account? No shade, just be honest with yourself. Or do you actually know like what your taste in books is? I just want you to be aware that if you're going on book buying hauls, you know what you're reading, and you also know that it's an investment. It's something you're going to store in your house. It's something that you are at least going to read again. Because if you're only going to read it once, get the audiobook at least. I am also fortunate enough to own a Kindle. That was a very great investment. And I have it hooked up to my library. So I can rent a book, an ebook, from my library on my Libby app. It can get sent directly to my Kindle. I don't even have to go to the library. I can get it immediately for $0. You can get a book on Kindle or Audible immediately, but you have to pay for it. Your library, you can do the same exact thing. And being more connected to my library by using it and renting books there and renting movies there. Me and my husband rent a movie and we watch it together every Saturday night. It's so great. I guess we're not renting it, we're borrowing it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I love using my library. I don't just do the books and stuff there. I learned about the streaming services, which we're starting to use, like Craftsy, Canopy. But I also take my baby there for story time. And I'm meeting people in my neighborhood and people who work in my community. I'll also go there and work if I need to get out of my house for a little while. My library has museum passes. They have passes to the zoo that you can check out and go to the zoo for free. You just have to walk in and the librarians will just flock to you to help you. Seriously, use the library. Okay, this last thing that I recommend you do to be a little bit more minimal is a little heady, but stay with me. I need you to meditate. So this like comes and goes out of my life, but I will say this, when your mind is trained to not crack under the first sign of pressure or the first difficult choice or the first new habit that you're trying to build, you are less likely to flail around for comfort measures, like purchasing something. In the Western world, especially among a stereotypical set, shopping is a form of therapy. I think I make my opinion clear that it is not and should not be. You've heard people talk about retail therapy, and even myself partake in it every once in a while. Truly, I'm not an extremist. I mean, look at my house, look at my life. I'm not saying get rid of all your stuff. I'm not saying don't ever go out with a friend and have a nice time walking around a mall shopping for Christmas gifts. I have been guilty of using it when I need something that will make my life a little easier, and getting that thing crosses something off my checklist, which makes me feel good. And I am aware that it's not necessarily the buying of the thing that makes me feel better, it's the being productive and crossing something off my to-do list that makes me feel better. I'm working on it. I'm not saying I'm perfect. So I know that's like very cerebral, right? But what I want you to do is realize that I figured all this out by meditating. I was using Simple Habit for many, many, many years and absolutely loved it. It was an excellent support tool for learning how to meditate. Also not sponsored, let's be real. It isn't pretentious. It isn't something that you can't listen to or understand or focus on. You got lots of different meditators on there who can help you figure out exactly what meditation is right for you. Are you done with your meditation? If something isn't easy, I have a hard time sticking with it and trying it in like a real way, and this made it really easy. I know that using an app to unplug and meditate is kind of counterintuitive, but the barrier for entry with a meditation app is super low. And I learned the tools that I need to be able to calm myself with the app so that once I had honed those skills, I didn't need the app anymore. And even in moments of emotional instability, it's okay to have the app for support. Meditation does not have to be sitting in a Zen garden. That doesn't have to be it. You can just like do it in your car. I do it in the shower a lot. I'll do it when I'm laying down in bed. If my baby is driving me crazy in the middle of the day, I take like a moment and just like zone in and breathe. I do it right before in my car, like in a silent state right before I go into a shoot. Meditation can even be like spending the evening with the TV off and focusing on like a craft. Right now, my kind of manifestation of meditation in my life is not taking in any media in the morning. So I don't watch YouTube, I don't listen to the radio, I don't check Instagram. I spend the time I wake up all the way until 12 doing work or making stuff for you guys, but I'm not intaking any media. I need that time to do yoga. I need that time to get my kid out the door to school or get him organized for the day. And I need to get my head on right. And that's all meditation is trying to get you to do. I know this all can seem kind of weird, and these suggestions are a little out there. I'm not a normal YouTuber. I wanted to give you something with some real value. Anybody can declutter their stuff. Anybody can paint all their walls taupe. But in order to really get into the minimal lifestyle, these are a couple of the things that I've been doing for a long time that I think cut through the BS and the minimal looking facade of minimalism and get to the real heart of it. What does it mean to be minimal? These are 8 things that I do. Try one. It literally cannot hurt you to try. It can't. Even just today, don't buy anything. Can you do it? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.